Hi, and welcome to Learn with Sawgrass, the Tuesday edition. I'm Rhonda, the Education Manager here at Sawgrass, and for 2025, we were with you live on YouTube every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern, and then every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern. We will not be with you tomorrow. It is New Year's Eve, and so today is our last workshop of the year. And then starting next week, as we enter 2026, we'll be joining you live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Don't worry, there'll still be a second workshop loading into our YouTube channel. It'll just be a recorded one. So trying a little something new. But we will be joining you every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern right here on YouTube. If you don't catch us live, don't worry. You always can watch that recording after the fact. It is in that Learn with Sawgrass playlist. I do have Rhodes with me behind the scenes. He is going to be answering any of your questions in the chat. And I am going to be asking lots of questions today. So please make sure you are putting your answers in there. And hopefully this is one that's going to be very helpful for you. So today's is really cool because we're going to talk about our 2026 resolutions for your business, or kind of an idea of what you may want them to be. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So one of the things to start with is, let's talk about the struggles that often face personalized product businesses. So what most of you are doing, whether you're selling a lot or whether you're selling a little, you are still a business. And all of you are dealing in personalized products because you are using sublimation and then the VersaFlex decorating system. So personalization is really the key to what you do. And there are, I kind of went to the internet and I pulled together this list of what 5 of the biggest struggles are. Now, please in the chat put whether you believe this to be true, and then 2, which one of these you've struggled with, if you feel comfortable telling us. So the first is custom request, and this gets really big because we do personalize, but people often come in and want something that's a variation of what you already have set up, and that's going to take extra time because you have to do the setup. It may be the product that's a little bit custom. It could just be what they're wanting done, but those custom orders do throw off your normal workflow. So that's a really big one. The other thing, and we talked about this heading into the holidays, is people who have late or rush orders, again, kind of bleeding into the time that you have set aside for other things, for family, for your own projects that you need to make for the holidays. So custom requests and those late requests are often a big struggle. The next is going to be time-consuming production. So those items that take longer or things that just take a while. So the time-consuming production. Inconsistent traffic, meaning you have slow months, you have busy months. And so how do you kind of balance that and keep time available that needs to be available, and it be enough time but not too much time? And so inconsistent traffic to your business can be a hindrance and a struggle. Here is what I would say is probably the biggest one, is underpricing your time. And this is not just to our industry. This is any time you are doing anything that involves handcrafting, whether that is cake baking, whether that is floral, whether that is like sewing and those kind of things. No matter what it is really hard to price correctly and then get people to respect that. I see it a lot in the baking industry where people expect very elaborate things and don't expect to pay for them because they don't understand the time that it takes. So it's very easy to fall into this, to not fully appreciate what's going to be involved. We will have another pricing workshop that we're going to do in the next few months. So hopefully that will kind of shed a light again as well, but underpricing your time. And then finally, trying to carry too many products or buying too many blanks and then not being able to make the product. But any way you look at too many products, offering too many different products, so you're having to make changes constantly to how you're producing, to that of you bought too many blanks and you have a lot of those little pop sockets for the back of your cell phones. So too many products falls into a lot. Rhodes, do we have any comments?
Just hello from Tom and Lori so far.
Awesome. Well, please, if you have seen that these struggles exist, or if you've had any of these struggles, please put that in the chat. Now, there are 5 levers that help guarantee success. And so we're going to break all of these down, and then we're going to talk about some specific resolutions around these 5 levers. The first is traffic. So how many people are aware of your business or coming in, whether you're selling in person, whether that's at a market or in a store, and then also on your website, on your social media, just traffic. How many people are actually seeing what you're doing? The next is going to be conversions. So that next step, not just people walking into your space or coming online into your virtual space, but actually then making a purchase. So the first one is about getting seen. The second one is about getting people who see you to actually buy from you. The next is going to be AOV, and we're going to use that a few times, but that's your average order value. So how much are people buying or how much are people spending when they spend? It's great to sell those smaller items, but without those bigger items at that higher profit margin, often you're not really seeing the return if you're only selling a few small things. So how do you get people to bundle? How do you get people to buy multiple items from you? How do you get people to raise that average order value? The next is going to be repeat customers. So not just getting people in the door to see your things, not just getting people to buy from you, but to get them to buy from you over and over and over again and be those raving fans of yours, but also to be that repeat business. And then finally, efficiency. So the time it takes you to do what you need to do, the mistakes you make that are going to cause a loss of money, and then the speed at which you can do it. So the time for the overall process, the speed of actually producing, and then any mistakes that may slow you down in the middle. So these are the 5 levers. Now, everyone's going to be good at something, and everyone's going to be bad at something, or less successful at something. So there's always one area that you're going to succeed in, or a few areas you're going to succeed in, and a few areas where you struggle a little bit more. So as we're kind of talking, think about this. Which of these 5 levers have you not pulled? So where do you need to focus? Where should your goals be, your resolutions be for your business in 2026? Which of these need to be your focus? Is it getting seen? Is it getting anyone to notice you or more people to notice you? Is it then converting those into customers and then getting those customers to purchase from you again? Is it the amount of money they're spending, that AOV, when they order from you? And then finally, the actual making. So aside from the selling, the actual making. How much time is it taking you to figure out what products to sell, to get designs made to go on those products, to get pieces put up to sell from, and then at the end of the day, when they purchase, how long is that order taking you? How long is it taking you to package that and ship that? or whatever that looks like depending on how you do things. So again, throw it in the chat if you feel comfortable. Where do you want to focus in 2026? Which of these levers have you not successfully pulled in the past that will help you get that success that you want? Rhodes, what we got?
Lori has a good comment that kind of relates to this. She says that she never turns on her press for less than $10. You can order less, but it will wait until I have another order to process with it. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so again, that's a great point from Lori. You know, as you are making orders, this is another piece of that efficiency piece. This also goes back to those struggles, those custom requests. You know, is it worth your time in the moment? It's going to be much easier for you if you can batch orders, if you can do multiple products at a time, where you can have certain days of the week where you're focusing on producing. I mean, we have the same issue here. It takes time to get the press set up. It gets time to get everything out, to arrange everything, to do orders, or to do, in our case, samples or whatever it may be, to do demos. So yeah, that's a great point from Lori. You know, with that average order value, not taking your time to do an order that's not going to be a high value one. Wait until you have other orders to do it with. But you know, again, these tie in so well together. The struggles of personalized product businesses and how they tie into those 5 levers and how you need to pull those. So let's look. Is there any more?
no, we're fine.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and look at some resolutions that you may consider. Now, I'll go ahead and tell you there's going to be a challenge at the end that you're picking from the different categories. So we'll talk about that later, but let's kind of run through some of these ideas for resolutions. So the first is around that concept of repeat customers. So this is the repeat customer resolution, and the goal is to increase repeat customer rate by 15%. Now that's a pretty highly doable number. That's less than 1/4 of your customers. So if you had 12 customers in a year, that's probably 2. So can you get an extra 2 people to be coming back? I hope I did the math on that sort of right. But can you get 2 people to come back? And of course, hopefully your numbers are higher than that, but kind of give you a way to think about that. So some of the things that you can do are VIP loyalty programs. So ways to reward people who shop with you frequently. Now, what would that look like? It could be a benefit like sneak peeks. So they get early access. They get to see what your Christmas items are going to look like. Sometimes it's input. It's the ability to get an email or a newsletter, and we'll talk about emails later, but to get an email that says, hey, what themes do you want to see this year? People are going to be more likely to buy things that kind of fit into their want. And if they're a VIP and they have that loyalty program. Now, loyalty program could also be buy 3 items, get a 4th item for free. So you kind of have to figure that out, and you have to figure out, you know, how you're going to do it that's not going to cost you a lot of money. But what are those extras? Is it free gift wrapping? Is it something else? But people love to be part of a loyalty program, especially if all they have to give you is a phone number and an email to get into it. So loyalty programs are huge. Another is make sure an action item you can do for repeat customers is reorder reminders. So I know we've had people talk about this in the past, that they have, like, for each customer who's bought from them before, they know when they ordered or what they ordered. So if someone gets a baby shower gift, well, you're going to know roughly when the first birthday is for that baby, so you can send a reminder to order then. If someone's buying ornaments for Christmas, well, then every Christmas they should be getting a reminder that it's time to go ahead and get those Christmas ornaments ordered, and maybe here's a 25% off to help them do that. So reorder reminders are another action you can take to help increase your number of repeat customers. And then another is kind of what I already said, that new drop first access. So whether this is VIP or whether this is separate, just if you've bought from me before, I'm going to give you the courtesy of letting you see everything up front. And then, of course, if we're doing limited, they can get first shot at getting those limited items before they sell out. Now, I am huge into my SMART goals, making sure that your goals are going to be measurable, they're going to be attainable, they're going to be realistic, and they're going to be time sensitive. So the metric that ties to this particular one is you're looking at your repeat customer rate, and then you're looking at your return revenue percentage. So how many reorders are you getting? This is kind of how you measure success with this particular resolution. Another one is that AOV resolution. This is going to be increasing your average order value by 20%. And that's using things like bundles and gift add-ons. So what are the things that you can do to increase that sale? Bundles are going to be huge. And one of the things that you can easily do is, and this is a great action to take, is to have at least 3 gift bundles that you sell. So if you're doing a lot of VersaFlex, that could be a shirt, that could be a hat, and that could be a bandana. If we're talking about, homeware, that could be a blanket and a pillow. It could be mugs and coasters, skinny tumblers and coasters. So figuring out those things, and maybe with the skinny tumblers or water bottles, you're going to do car coasters, but bundling those items together. And as we go into gifting season, which is our next big focus, we are quickly moving towards that season of Easter, Mother's Day, Father's Day, graduations, and weddings, which we fondly here refer to as gifting season. So start thinking now about those 3 gift bundles. I mentioned the hat and the shirt. Great gift bundle for dad. Always the drinkware for mom works well, or anything for the kitchen too. It could be a cutting board and a tea towel. There's so many different ways we can do this. You can add in a pot holder too. So theming those things, putting those gift bundles together, huge way to help increase that average value. And then the other thing is there could be a discount involved. So if you're buying all 3, you're saving a percentage too. But still, by selling the 3, you're increasing that average order value. The next thing would be complete the gift add-ons. If you haven't seen it yet, with VersaFlex, I've done boxes, I've done bags, and of course, I have done plenty of ribbon. So any of those are things that you can add on to make anything you sell even more special. So being able to do that ribbon, I did a phenomenal ribbon earlier today. Really proud of myself. I made a bow for a wreath, and it turned out really well. But being able to just add those little custom touches of family names, of someone's name, of initials, of monograms, family logos or crest, adding those to the ribbon, a little extra work for you, but a little extra money too. So those are great add-ons too. Now the metric here is going to be looking at your AOV and then look at that add-on attach rate. Are they adding other things? Are they getting those bundles? How many of these gift bundles are you selling? These are huge metrics for you when you look at this. Rhodes, do we have any comments or questions?
No, we are actually caught up on everything.
Awesome. All right, the next is going to be our efficiency resolution. Reducing production time per order by 20%. I will go ahead and start selling this right now because to me, I am so excited about this. But in January, we are doing a live workshop where I'm going to try to make as many t-shirts as I can within the live. So within the hour, how many t-shirts can I make? And I've already started thinking about those things I can do. What can you do in advance? What do you need to do at the time? What can you do afterwards to keep the area organized and keep things going? So think of those things. What can you do more efficiently than you currently are? Some of those may be things like limiting font choices or drop downs, giving them the ability to personalize, but streamlining it as much as possible to cut down the order time, but also cut down your time in having to make changes for each specific customer. Another is using templates for proofs and customer messaging. This is something that's built right into the My Sawgrass design tool. We don't talk enough about it, so I'll make sure and show that, but in a later workshop. But the great thing here is you have something that they can see for a proof, that they can sign, where you can keep notes. That may not be the best system for you, but figuring out what that is. So how do you keep that straight? Again, cut down on mistakes, cut down on reprints because they wanted something slightly different and you didn't get the memo. And then finally, standardizing your packaging, having everything you need to do mugs, to do those things. I was laughing. Most of my Christmas gifts this year were either there were only 3 things. It was either a t-shirt, it was a tote bag, or it was a purse. So they all went into the same size box. They all got wrapped in the same paper. I just alternated, so it was a pretty stack when I was done. But it was the easiest I've ever had with wrapping because everything was exactly the same. So what do you need to do to standardize your packaging and have that flow set up to cut down on time? Yes.
Megan is asking, would that be all with the same design? Do you factor in design time?
Yeah, so you do factor in design time. And so there's 2 ways you look at this. So for each different design you create, you have the initial design time that gets factored in. Secondly, with personalization, anytime you're making changes, you're basically having to add on design time specific to that order. So by limiting what they can change and what they can alter, it's going to make your life easier. So you don't have to go through 20 fonts. It's going to speed up the order process too, but it's also going to speed up your time in making the changes for when you produce it. Oh, and I forgot. What we're looking at metric-wise here is the time per order and then also the remake rate. So cutting out any mistakes is a huge way to improve your efficiency. All right, the next resolution is around visibility and your content system. So how are people seeing your stuff? And then of course, what are you doing on social media to market your business, both on your website and then on social itself? So here's the resolution and here's the goal. Post 4 short videos a week using 3 repeatable content series. Now let me explain that a little bit. So let's go ahead and jump to this second one in the actions. What is a content series? It's going to be name of the day. So if you're doing a lot of personalization, what's that name that you've seen that you can highlight? This is a great one because you're showing something that someone has purchased, which then gets them more excited, and it highlights them, which everyone loves, and helps bring them back to you. But also, it's going to help people see what you're selling and what you're making in real form. Not just a mock-up, not just your image on a pre-done lifestyle image, but an actual product that you've made that you have in hand. Can even be, this would be a great peel and reveal series, to just do a video of you peeling the name of the day. Do that video once per week. Once per week, have a name. I would say name of the week, because you're only doing it once per week. You're not going to do it every day, but a name of the week. And reveal that mug with the name, or that shirt with the name, or whatever it is. That's going to get excitement. People are going to tune in on Tuesdays to see if their product they bought from you is going to be featured. And it's just going to be a lot of fun. Another idea is just doing a video of you packaging your order. So putting everything in boxes. Again, that kind of like sneak peek, but not, of packaging everything up. Then people know you're busy. Then people know how in demand you are. Then people know how reliable you are. So again, it's fun to watch, but it's also another way of getting you seen. And then finally, gift ideas in 15 seconds. Quickly running through something, showing all the different things for gifting season. Today maybe or this week may be around graduation ideas that you're putting in your store. Next week may be around wedding gifts or bridesmaids gifts or whatever it may be. So those 5 ideas in 15 seconds is a catchy way to get people to tune in. So posting videos, choosing these repeatable content things that you can do each week that people know to tune in for is a great way to meet this resolution to increase your visibility, especially if it's a little bit fun. It's a little cool to watch. I know how many people I watch on Instagram that do resin, that do cakes and cookies. There's this lady I watch that makes cookie cakes and just chats about random stuff while she makes the cookie cake. But I will sit there and I will watch it every single week. So these are ways to get people tuning in, and then you know where you want to buy your cookie cake from. All right, and then with this, set aside one day. We've talked about setting aside time for production. We've talked about setting aside time for packaging. Well, set aside your video day. When are you going to do these? Do them all at one time, knock them out for the week instead of doing them separate. And then it's not a huge commitment, especially if it's something you kind of dread to start with. Get it all done at once. Now, what is our metric here? It's going to be a weekly post, making sure you're hitting your commitment of 4 videos per week. And then also monitoring how people are coming into your store. Who are you picking up off social? Is that number growing as you do more content, as you get more visibility? Any comments or questions, Reds?
Lori has a comment. It goes back just a little bit, but Lori has Lori has people send her a proof with the invoice. They pay the invoice that is acknowledgement that all designs, including spelling, is approved. That way, if there's a mistake, I go back to the approval.
Yep. Definitely. Just whatever the system is that works for you. So some way that you're sending a proof, that you're getting a sign off on it so that you know what you're making and you cut out those oopses. The next resolution is going to be around your email list. Now, I'm not going to push you on this one to grow your email list. I'm going to push you to actually send to your email list. And what you want to do is build your email list by 50% and make emails 20% of your revenue. So one action you can take is adding lead magnets. 10% off, free upgrade, buy one, get one. Things that are exclusive to people who click on your email to go to your site. And then to make sure that you're sending weekly emails, and then that you have at least 3 automations. Welcome emails, when something's left in a cart, when there's a reorder, thank you, or to reorder. All of these are automations that you can set in place, tie them to the action in your shopping, and then by doing that, that makes your life easier. And then send that weekly email as well. It's another way to get people to see. So well, I guess I did lie because I said we were going to talk about growth, but we are kind of talking about growth. So the metric is, how is your list growing? And then what is your revenue that comes straight from email? The next is going to be your profit margin resolution. Increasing your profit margin by 7% without raising prices. Now, how do you do this? This is going to be by cutting costs other places. One of the actions you can take is auditing your shipping costs and your packaging sizes. It may be, if you're doing a lot of shipping, trying to figure out a more cost-effective way to ship. But then, of course, standardizing your packaging, looking at where you buy your packaging from. These are ways that you can quickly increase your profit margin. Repricing or removing low margin items. If it's not making you a lot of money, if it's costing you more in time than you're making, then that may be something you need to get rid of, or it may be something you need to rethink how you're doing that. You also want to add premium upgrades. What does that look like? Rush fees, gift packaging, personalization add-ons. Can I say ribbons again? So there's so many different things that you can add on here that are going to help increase your margin. So what is our metric? It's your profit per order, and then it's also your margin percentage. Now, here is my challenge to you. I want you to pick 3 resolutions for this year for your business. One around growth. That's going to be one of those resolutions, or one of your own, around traffic, conversion, content, and email. It's going to be one revenue resolution, whether that's the average order value, or your profit, or your repeat customers, or repeat business, I guess. And then one is going to be an efficiency resolution around time, around errors, around your systems, and improving those. So if you pick 3 of these are going to help trigger those levers. Hopefully the levers that you haven't triggered previously, they're going to help you with success. So start thinking about this, and start thinking about what you want your resolutions to be. You still got a whole day to think about as you're going to try to grow your business in 2026. And then finally, well, there's actually 2. So first, take that one flagship focus, that one area that you want to improve, whether it's efficiency, whether it's that average order value, whether it's the visibility, whatever it is, pick one of those, and then we're going to do a 90-day sprint. So you're going to pick it. Everything else is just maintenance for that first quarter. So between now and March, what are you going to focus on? The first week, you're going to pick your resolution and you're going to set your metrics, and you are going to start there. The next week, that's when we're going to start whatever it is, whether it's the content series, whether it's the bundles or the add-ons, figuring out what you need to do and actually putting it or building it in week 2, so that in week 3, we are publishing it, we are promoting it, and then now we can track it for the rest of those 90 days. So start thinking about that big, hairy, audacious goal for the first quarter. Build that resolution, create what you need to create, and then publish it, and then sit back and maintain it and watch it. But this is your 90-day sprint goal, or your 90-day sprint challenge to get started in 2026. And then finally, there are 5 things that you should be tracking. So you should be tracking your revenue, you should be tracking your profit per order, your average order value, your conversion rate, and then your repeat customer rate. So if you're focusing on this and you are growing in these areas, then you're pulling all those levers for success. Rhodes, do we have any other questions or comments?
Knocked out the questions.
Awesome. Okay, so that's it. That is my look at how I think you should be thinking this week about resolutions. If you need to see it again, those are those 5 levers for success that I think are so very important, and the things that you really should be looking at as you grow your business in 2026, and hopefully as we help you grow your business. Now, as we said, this is our last workshop for 2025. We do thank you for joining us. They've been so much fun this year, and it's been so much fun to grow with them and with you. So hopefully we can continue to do that in 2026. Also, we did release a new podcast yesterday. If you did not hear last week's, please go back and get some holiday out of that. We did sit down with a lot of members of our team here at Sawgrass to talk about their favorite holiday traditions and holiday memories. This week, we took a look back at what we've accomplished at Sawgrass this year. And man, it was a lot. So we sat down with a lot of members of our team. Please take a listen to that, and please take a listen to what we have in store for 2026, what we hope will happen, and then kind of a little bit of a sneak peek of what we're working on. So that is our Ink Differently podcast. It is available on Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Music. And this was actually the last episode of season 2. Don't worry, we won't have as long of a break as we did between seasons 1 and 2, but season 3 will be debuting middle of January. So we'll continue to talk to some of my favorite people and hopefully teach you a little bit along the way. So we hope to see you next year as we kick off our workshops on Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, and then there's recorded ones for you to grab as well. So thank you so much for being with us. I hope you have a happy new year. Any more comments or questions I missed? All right, that's it for today. Have a good one. Bye.